This is a summary of an article, opinion article I found on the www.abc.net.au, apparently the Australian Broadcasting Corporation's website, written by Rebecca English, entitled How to Gently Prepare Your Child for Their First Day of School. There are so many ways to raise your children, and it seems more and more parents are trying to be gentle in their approaches. But this can be tricky once they hit school age. From about age 5, children spend a significant amount of their time in school. This, of course, differs from one country to another one. Here in the Philippines, as in Finland, formal education starts in the year when children turn 7, although in Finland there's that optional preschool that starts in the year when the children turn 6. And maybe by special permission it's possible to start formal education, especially if it's given privately already before the age of 7. In fact, according to this writer, Australian children spend the second most amount of time in primary education out of all OECD, or Organization for Economic Coordination and Development, a group of, I think, over 20 highly industrialized countries. Countries. It's widely acknowledged parents are a powerful force in a child's school success. In many ways, the parent's transition to school can be just as important as that of the child. So it's vital parents and children share a positive and enthusiastic attitude to school. And she lists 3 ways or methods. Parents should read books that associate positive feelings about schools and, read them to their children, and let the children read, or encourage the children to read them. I interpret it that way. Parents should talk positively about the enjoyable moments or good times they had at school when they were students. And then parents should encourage their children to talk with their siblings, that is brothers or sisters, cousins or others who are enjoying school. And researchers argue that parents can assist by validating children's nervous feelings about school and supporting them to explore these feelings. Then a study of children starting school coping strategies suggests children who develop positive relationships with teachers and other children are more likely to experience success. And parents can effectively manage their children's relationships with schools in many positive ways. Keeping the lines of communication open for parents, teachers, and children is vital to managing these interactions. Teacher-child closeness is positively associated with perceptions of good behavior. And if the child has had good experiences at kindergarten or in kindergarten, then he or she is likely to have positive experiences also at school. And then there's a strong correlation between good peer relationships and children's positive experiences of school. So with fellow pupils or fellow students, if the children get along with them, likely they will enjoy school more. The opposite, of course, of that is frequent bullying, both physical and psychological. It is probably not a surprise that children who exhibit positive social emotional development are likely to be successful at school. Then research, at least according to this journalist, suggests that a child's mindfulness can be helpful in managing transitions to school. So mindfulness for young children involves setting daily intentions and checking in with themselves to manage their emotions. Well, the Bible-believing Christian parents, of course, will probably pray with and for their children daily before sending them to school, or even while they are accompanying them to school. If they are, for example, parents who stay at home, or parents who have so flexible work schedules that they can take that time, whatever it is, minutes, tens of minutes, or perhaps even a few hours each morning on the days when the children go to school, to physically accompany them to school. So, for example, frequently praying with children who go to school, praying with them, praying for them, giving them helpful, encouraging memory verses from the Bible. And nowadays, of course, it's possible even to text those memory verses to children, or if they have already a small computer like mini tablet, it's possible for the parents to prepare Bible verses files for the children, or actually encourage them to prepare them, because that way the children will not only learn to write more fluently, but also will learn about the Bible and about the wonderful promises that God has for people in the Bible. This is my addition to this article. Many gentle parents practice open, non-judgmental, and non-violent communication in their interactions with their children. In addition, a child's self-regulation is said to impact their success in transitioning to school. For example, controlling attention, inhibitions, and working memory. And this is said to influence the children's health and well-being across the course of their lives. And researchers have found that the children who are taught from an early age to manage their emotions, the ups and downs, so that they do not, for example, easily lose their temper by bursting into tears or shouting, let alone by physically hitting other people or hitting objects like walls or desks and so forth, are most likely to enjoy education. So, for example, parents should encourage children to stop, calm down, and breathe through their feelings. And in that way, parents can help their children to be mindful of their feelings and manage those feelings. And these behaviors are encouraged in gentle parenting literature. And of course, I would once again add that Christian perspective, that if parents teach their children to pray when they feel that they are upset about something, sad about something, anxious or fearful about something, and it would be really helpful for parents to have like Bible memory cards or even electronic cards that children could consult during the school day, especially at recesses, when they feel that they really need help. And of course, it would really be wonderful if the children had at least some Christian teachers or other Christian school staff members, let alone Christian fellow pupils or students at school with whom they could pray. Then self-regulation can also be promoted by helping children wait their turn for toys with siblings or play equipment with other children. So learning to wait instead of going for that instant gratification, which especially among young children so easily leads to verbal insults and shouting and unnecessary physical fights with other children, for example. And then listening to and naming feelings the child is expressing can be helpful. Research also suggests there is a correlation between the child's stress reactions and inappropriate behavior. So how do the children experience stress? So do they, for example, shout and even have a temper tantrum? Do they physically beat other people or beat, for example, walls or desks or chairs? Do they break objects? Do they even physically hurt themselves? Do they run, for example, out of the school, into the schoolyard, even into the street, and then risk getting injured, or in the worst case scenario, even getting killed? Positive temperaments obviously can be fostered in a calm and cool classroom environment. And this is a challenge even for educated, qualified teachers because, well, at least based on my experiences in two Western countries, Finland, Northern Europe, where I've lived most of my life, and then Canada, where I lived for 6 years when I was young in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Sometimes teachers, even experienced teachers, can have great difficulty controlling the classroom and must ask for extra teachers or other school staff members, such as educational assistants, who are trained to deal with emotionally disturbed children and teenagers. And then school psychiatrists or psychologists, school social workers or curators, and so forth. And nowadays, since there seem to be an increasing number of children or teenagers who are diagnosed by psychologists or psychiatrists with at least one true learning and or behavioral and or concentration disorder, classroom management is a skill that teachers seem to need more and more, especially at the elementary and junior high school levels of formal education. This was my aside. They can also be fostered, positive temperaments, by parents following authoritative parenting practices. So authoritative parenting involves demanding excellence from your children, balanced with being highly responsive to their needs, and I would say also giving them positive feedback and encouragement whenever it is possible, and emphasizing when you do set limits to your children, when you are strict to them, when you even punish them verbally, and perhaps in extreme cases in mild physical ways, although this of course is not recommended anymore in most Western countries at least. You emphasize still the fact that you love your children and that you are willing to then apologize for losing your temper in front of your children and so forth. Once again, my asides. Gentle parents are authoritative in their approach. For example, they will give clear instructions, set boundaries, be warm and nurturing, and encourage autonomy. That is the children's independence, in the sense that they are not overly protective or smothering, and they encourage the children to become emotionally and even practically more independent, more self-supporting. There are many ways schools can gently encourage readiness. These strategies include the development of positive home-school relationships, which are very important to children's happiness at school. Research suggests few schools have meaningful contact with parents, which is especially important at times of transition, especially from kindergarten to school, meaning primary or elementary school. A friend whose son is about to start prep, maybe it is the Australian English abbreviation for preschool, noted how important simple things like a card and a photo of her son's new teacher was in helping her child cope with the stress of big school. Encouraged by his mother, he has moved from being apprehensive to excited about his upcoming experience. And the article's writer, Rebecca English, is a lecturer in education at the Queensland University of Technology. I thank her for publishing this thoughtful article. Bye-bye.